A well-known brand doesn't automatically make a good game. Little Nightmares already has 3 installments, and the 4th one is coming out for virtual reality. Even though it doesn't have a number, everyone will probably just call it the VR installment. This time everything will be adapted for virtual reality, so we'll be playing from a first-person perspective and seeing everything as if we were really there. There won't be any screen to protect us, no screen to stare at. No. This time, you'll literally find yourself in Little Nightmares. Welcome to the exciting virtual zone. Today we are actually going to be whipping up a massive culinary storm here in Little Nightmares. So, there we go, just a delicious fish head left. Right at the start, I'll admit to you that to this day I've never finished any of the Little Nightmares games. Except for this one. I've always just tried out the previous games, but they never managed to keep me interested enough to finish them. However, the new installment felt closer to me because it was designed for VR gameplay from the start, and I was looking forward to it being different this time. Unfortunately, while the first 2 games were developed by Tarsier Studios, who also recently released Reanimal, this time publisher Bandai Namco entrusted the game to Iconic Studios. Their last game was King Pong from 2021, which is a title that probably doesn't ring a bell for anyone. You can imagine my slight skepticism about how this studio would handle it, right? Well, they were given a very good brand that works, although after the 3rd installment it works a bit less, and today you'll find out whether they actually managed to pull it off. For example, the control settings are tragic. You can only turn in fixed increments. There's no option for smooth rotation, which won't be very comfortable for users with a cable. Another thing is the omnipresent hood, which is visible both to you and to viewers on the stream. I am honestly so incredibly thankful for the modders who completely took out this annoying hood, and I was able to enjoy the second half of the game much more than a mere 60%, which is actually the field of view you have when you're wearing the hood. I'll make sure to include a direct link to this mod in the description below so you don't have to suffer in the hood like Kenny or Georgie. By the way, this mod also enables smooth turning on the thumbstick, so once again thank God for modders. However, owners of the PSVR 2 and Quest versions will have to hope for a patch directly from the developers. The first levels should be the best in terms of level design, while the weaker ones may appear in the second half. Here it's the opposite, and you'll manage to refund the game before you can say shoemaker. The beginning is slower, not so much scary as it is slightly annoying, and you'll start to notice the lack of polish in some game mechanics, such as climbing. The player doesn't know which surfaces they can and cannot climb, which similar games in the past solved by marking handholds, for example with white chalk. But don't expect that here. Still, over time you'll figure out what you can and can't climb, even though it often doesn't make sense. At the beginning you'll be plugging in various sockets, avoiding walking on glass so you don't attract enemies, and literally dodging hands that come out of different screens and try to catch you. But I found the next location more interesting. How did she see me? Here, the main boss was a teacher with an extremely long neck. Rather than a fight, it's more about constantly running and hiding in the dark, trying not to step on the ever-present shards of glass. In the next level, you take a ride on a train, but apparently you don't have a ticket. The conductor tries to catch you both inside the carriage and on the roof. So once again, you'll be hiding and then making a final sprint across the roof. In the dark room, you're greeted by a photographer whose photos literally steal souls. As soon as he spots you, sees you, poof! And the moment you're photographed, you die. You'll also be accompanied here by other creatures who, like Prometheus, will pass on to you the secret of fire. This way, you can strike a match against the box and light up dark areas, just like in Midnight Walk. If you're considering buying this Little Nightmares, you'd be better off going for Midnight Walk. It's a better game in every way, and you can find my review of it on my channel. There are a total of 5 chapters in the game, and at the end of each one, you can look forward to a smaller or bigger boss fight. I finished the whole game in less than 4 hours. You'll probably get through it faster since I spent a lot of time admiring the surroundings and maybe died more often than is healthy. But you don't have to worry about that. The game makes it pretty clear what it wants you to do, so let's put it here. I was scared. Jesus, he's coming after me. No. Please. Gloomy visuals. Visually, the game looks good in VR, especially after I removed the hood with a mod and could enjoy a better view. The people in the dining car looked good, as did pretty much any characters who were often after your neck. But ordinary objects or wall textures weren't very sharp. I played the PC VR version where the visuals could have been even better, but even so, the world of Little Nightmares looks good in VR. Fans will surely be pleased to visit familiar locations from previous installments, which feel even more horrifying than just on a monitor or TV. Unfortunately, the repetitive textures on suitcases, shelves, and other items can get tiresome over time. What is a shame though is the absence of a full body. You only see your hands. Moreover, your hands automatically disappear when climbing or interacting with certain objects, which takes away from the immersion a bit. Gameplay. Compared to other VR games, this one is average. To address motion sickness, the developers have permanently added a hood here, which creates a constant vignette effect, and that should help prevent you from feeling sick in VR. However, it's very individual because there are people who get sick in VR, and there are people who can stay in it for even 24 hours. Which reminds me, I really will make that video about the 24-hour stream one day. I mean, I managed to do it on Twitch, but I still haven't made a video about it on YouTube, and if it's not on YouTube, it's like it never happened. Another interesting thing the creators completely removed from Little Nightmares in VR is the ability to jump. So throughout the entire experience of the game, you only walk, run, or crouch. Yes, if you happen to play the game while sitting down, you can still crouch by simply using a button. If you play it standing up, I think the button should still work, but you can also physically crouch down yourself. However, the complete lack of jumping ends up removing some essential gameplay and fundamental level design elements. And that's a shame because, as you know, Little Nightmares is also about jumping, but you won't find it here. You've got to be kidding me, do I really have to climb up there? It's so sad how many years back the game design of this title takes us when it could have had great potential. Yet despite this, the reviews on Steam are mostly positive, and for me it might not have been such a failure if they weren't asking 30 euros for it. Yes, for 30 euros you can get much better VR games like the already mentioned Midnight Walk, which I've brought up for the third time today. By the way, that one won the award for Best VR Game of last year, and you can even play it without VR. In contrast, Lone Echo doesn't bring anything new to VR, it's actually quite average, and if it weren't for the famous brand, it might be a game that no one would even know about today. Conclusion: Little Nightmares VR is the first installment in the series that I actually finished. That very same day, I bought the enhanced edition of the first game on sale, and in fact it's the VR installment that really sparked my curiosity about this series. Many of you will be entering a world you already know well, but as a Little Nightmares newbie, I still enjoyed the game in several moments. Unfortunately, the game wasn't released in a state where they could reasonably ask for 30 euros. And if you like this series, wait for a discount. This game really isn't worth 30 euros. Which brings me to this. Have you heard about Midnight Walk? And here's a look at a few more moments from Little Nightmares. Let me know what you think about this series or this installment, and see you next time in another video from the virtual zone. Don't run, please don't run. I promise you right now that I absolutely won't hurt you. At all. Oh shit. There he is. Go after him. Uh-huh.